What's up, chat? How are we doing today? Can you draw Tatsumaki pregnant to discredit the AI's pregnant version of your Tatsumaki? I did it, chat. I like Psychos more than Fubuki or Tatsumaki because she has glasses. I'm a simple man. When I see evil woman with glasses, my penis gets hard. Get woman pregnant propaganda. Get pregnant, get pregnant, get pregnant. Plap, plap, plap. The truth is, it's not that women aren't getting pregnant. The people who actually have families in Japan are having like 2 or 3 kids like they're supposed to. It's just that it's like 40% of the population has been eliminated from the entire breeding situation, like myself. In the case of men being incapable of reproducing, that's not really men's fault. That's just the high selection standards by women. But when women don't reproduce, that just means they're being lazy and would rather waste all of their money on idols and stuff like that. Either that or they had like ovarian cancer and had to remove all their body parts, but we don't talk about that. We'd rather talk about all the women who have extremely high standards and thus ended up falling out of the whole reproduction race. That's less depressing, you know? The average Japanese male is less social than you? Ugh. I don't know, man. After the last day I streamed, I went to the bank and I finally was able to open a bank account, and it was just like, okay, that's like, I think that's the last of the shit that I have to do for a while. I mean, I still have other shit that I have to do, but it was like sort of like the last like step in terms of setting up all this various, you know, structures that I need to set up in Japan at least for a bit. And I was like, oh, I did it. And after the day after I got back from doing that, the next day I absolutely did nothing. I barely got out of bed. I sat in bed playing Brotato for like 4 hours before I finally got off my ass and went outside and like did some exercise and shit like that and cooked a little bit. But I basically did fucking nothing because I was so tired of after like setting up shit in Japan day after day. And I was just thinking like, there's no fucking way I could have kids, man, if that's like, if just doing like a few amount of like adult shit, even while I don't even have like a real job, is enough to make me exhausted. Like, that ain't a thing. Like, people are all like, oh, when you have kids, you'll understand. It changes you. I'm like, I don't think it will. You know? If, what if it doesn't change me? That would be a problem, you know? Like, who the fuck is gonna take care of the kids when the kid starts whining and bitching and moaning? And I'm just like, excuse me, I have Asperger's, 3-year-old. I can't deal with your noise and your needs right now. You need to respect my personal space. Like, that ain't gonna happen. Those are adult responsibilities. Those drain you no matter how social you are. Yeah. I don't know, man. I just don't think I'm really built for the proper adult life the way that some of these other human beings are. Same for me with Ball Pit. Yeah, I'm being recommended for that on Steam. Honestly, I feel like a major reason why Steam has all the market share is just because it has good recommendations. Although it doesn't seem like that would be particularly hard, but when something just becomes a default option, I guess that's just what happens. Most people I know just don't want to talk to anyone. It's not like I don't want to talk to anyone. In fact, I have no real difficulty talking to people, as you can tell by me streaming. The problem is that I have like absolutely no censorship because of the Asperger's, so that every once in a while I'll say something I shouldn't have said and then get in trouble, and I'll be like, fuck, I'm never going to talk to anyone ever again. It's not the talking that bothers me. It's that I'm like exposing myself, and I'm not really thinking about the consequences. It's like most people wouldn't want to, go out and shoot somebody, whereas I'm just like opening the fucking submachine gun and just letting fire in a crowd of people with the way I speak. So I'm honestly surprised how well I got on living in a dorm for a uni, though I suppose having two pretty nice Italian girls living in the same flat does help. Uni living can change quite a bit depending on what kind of a dorm situation you have. I had a roommate for my first year of uh, university life, and it fucking sucked. Not gonna lie. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. The motherfucker kept on playing Coldplay. It was the only band he would play. And he didn't even do it in his, he wasn't using headphones. He had it on this fucking laptop speakers nonstop. I didn't have much music taste coming into college, so I didn't even know what Coldplay was. But after 1 year of listening to the speed of sound or whatever 10 million times, I have truly learned to hate them in a way that I never thought was possible. Coldplay fucking sucks. I feel like Coldplay is like one step below Nickelback in terms of like the vast majority of people hate them. They're not as high on the list as Nickelback, where like everybody seems to hate Nickelback except like a very small percentage of humanity that are like Nickelback defenders. But Coldplay is, I feel, pretty high. Is like a lot of people are just like, no, we're not doing that. The whole Coldplay thing. It's crazy that they were able to get a Super Bowl gig. It's a good example of how it doesn't really matter if, like, most people are gonna hate your shit. So, but if you only get if like 20% of the people that consume your shit, if they like it enough to give you money, then, you're gonna be a billionaire, is basically how it works. Did you go to Komike? I'm not going to fucking Komike, dude. Are you fucking serious? Komike is full of a trillion people. Also, I find it funny how all these people were asking me whether I was gonna go to Komike to like sell my shit or something. It's like, bro, don't you know you have to apply for Komike? It's like the largest black market, sales event on the planet. How much ass should I give the horse? This is an important question. Is it a centaur? Maybe. Would you guys prefer it if it was just a non-centaur horse ass? What do you think about this horse's ass right here? You think there's enough ass right there? This horse knows it wants it. It's asking for it. Really, for you to get up there and plap that fat horse ass. I don't think anything about a horse's ass, you weirdo. It's okay, guys. You don't have to lie when you're on this stream. You can be honest about your feelings. That sounds very woman thing to say. Be honest with your feelings. It is a very feminine idea, you know, about being honest with your desire to stick your penis inside horse butt. Because women are honest with their feelings, that's why they have so much Minotaur romantic fiction. In fact, the women have always been honest with their feelings. That's why classic female literature is like Wuthering Heights or some shit about abusive, mean childhood friend, sexy, dark, handsome boy being an asshole. You can see how Victorian age women were like, ooh, Heathcliff, he's so sexy, Desu. Jane Austen just being like, if you actually read Jane Austen, it's literally the same as like every single modern day romantic fiction that we have. It's like, I'm a strong, independent woman who don't need no man because I'm so smart and clever. I'm so much more smart and clever than all the other girls. And then men don't find me intimidating because I'm so smart and professional and clever. They're afraid of me. Because I'm special and I'm smart and I don't do this lovey-dovey stuff. Except, oh, this, you know, handsome, dashing, extremely rich man is always annoying me and bullying me. Tee-hee. Why must this be? Oh, he likes me. The end. It's literally the same as every shoujo manga, and especially like other romantic fiction and stuff like that. Shit hasn't changed in 200, 300, 500 years. I guess it's like saying that every shonen manga is the same because it has a Genki main character who tries super hard to overcome his problems and ultimately he wins with the power of friendship. But I feel like the lack of variation in main characters is actually way worse in female fiction. I feel like only recently we got a few female main characters in which they openly admit they like men, but the vast majority is the pattern where they're like, I'm so too smart and professional for a man, tee-hee, and like the entire story is about how, in fact, she was super smart and professional, but she decided to settle for insanely rich and handsome mysterious playboy billionaire who is hopelessly in love with her. It's almost like human nature doesn't change with the times. I don't know. Modern entertainment hasn't changed much, but if we go to like other forms of fiction in different time periods, it has like different themes and different main characters to fit the themes. Like if we go back all the way thousands of years to Greek stuff, like Greek heroes ain't overcoming shit with the power of friendship. Instead, they're like ignoring the warnings of the gods and then ultimately dying by whatever weakness that was prophesied in their nature or whatever, you know. Average Greek story is like, and then one day Athenia said Croesus will be invincible and awesome and have a huge cock as long as he doesn't do this one very specific thing. And his parents were like, okay, that sounds like a great deal. We'll just tell him not to do the thing. And then 20 years later, he does the fucking thing and his dick falls off and he gets shot by a million arrows. And we're all like, oh no, how could that have happened? All he had to do was not do the thing. Did nobody warn him? This is like every single Greek story right there. And if we go to other, like, I don't know, have you guys read Epic of Gilgamesh? That shit doesn't make any sense. The only thing you can understand by reading Epic of Gilgamesh was that there were like a shit ton of homosexual undertones or overtones, depending on how obvious you think it is. It's all just like, and then Gilgamesh sucked off Enkidu's hot cock. The end. Gilgamesh is fan fiction of a real guy? Yeah. If you read old Japanese novels, the first novel of all time, Tale of Genji, is a combination of harem sex. I get to have sex with lots of different women, except written by a female. That's also very typical of Japanese shit. So I guess that hasn't changed. But in the later parts of the story, it also goes into NTR, and he learns that he got cucked and stuff like that, and also it has concepts of like the ephemeral nature of humans and the sadness of existence and shit like that included. But that's about it. And fucking TR. It starts with him NTRing his father by fucking his stepmother. Basically, every concept that became popular in Japanese hentai was already outlined at an early stage thousands of years ago in Tale of Genji. NTR, mommy, dommy, incest. Harem plot, more NTR. What about tentacles? Tentacles don't start to happen until later. There's that famous image of the woman and the octopus, but that's not into the 1600s, so it took Japan like a solid, I don't know, 1,000 years. Not that long, but like, I don't know what year Tale of Genji was. Was it like maybe 800 or so? Maybe it took them about 800 years to realize that tentacles were hot, I guess. How do you feel about the racist smashing the goth avatar? You guys forget that I'm not online terminally like you are, so I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what smashing the goth is. Now that I realize you didn't make a Snake Girl for 2025, honestly, I don't like doing shit just because society has deemed I should. Would you fuck Blue Cat Alien? Not the James Cameron Blue Cat Aliens. They're too long and lanky. Those things are fucking lanklets. I'm not really attracted to them. I can't get over the fact that in the first Avatar movie, there's a scene in which, like, all the U.S. Marine Corps military forces shoot their, like, missiles and rockets into the giant fucking tree, and then the tree falls down. And I was just like, bro, that tree is, like, literally 2 or 3 miles wide. There's zero chance that shooting a bunch of artillery at that thing is gonna cause it to, like, crack and fall down. That's just so fucking impossible. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like, that tree it's so big. It's like the size of, like, a fucking city in diameter. I see you followed a Lanklet woman on Twitter. You can't fool anyone. I think, though, I don't remember who I followed, but I'm pretty sure you're talking about, like, the tall-ass Ukrainian girl or whatever I followed. Look, I wouldn't mind if the Avatar women were also, like, thick and muscular, but they're all, like, too fucking thin. I don't know. The body proportions of the upper part of the centaur are kind of difficult to figure out. Centaurs are anthropomorphized Tijuana shows. Look, man, as men, when we see large horse ass, we want to have sex with it. We can't help it. It's our primal response. Actually, if we look historically, usually centaurs are depicted as men, and it's like the primal male energy coming out of the horse that Greeks are responding to. They saw the horse body and they were like, what if these horses had human bodies attached to them and they showed up and abducted our women and raped them? That would be so fucking hot, LMAO. And thus, Centaur lore was born. Centaur and Minotaurs are for the ladies. Yeah, it was probably more ancient Greek female saw massive horse cock and she was like, but what if that went inside me? Thinking, thinking, thinking. And her husband was like, oh, that would be horrible. I hope you don't get raped by horsecock. And the female was like, yes, that would be horrible, teehee. I hope that will never happen. Medusa is for the bros, yes. Pretty sure fuck to death by horse donkey was a public Roman execution method. I know that people have died by trying to have sex with horses, and by people I mean men who were like, I wonder if this horse cock will fit inside my asshole. And I think he suffered serious internal intestinal damage and stuff like that. So yeah. Don't try and do that, guys. Shuon had recently made a video on all the horse monster romance novels women are reading. I believe that was a Minotaur. Which is monstrous human body, bull on head. Whereas women who lust after centaurs want a human upper body but horse cock below. Although you can also say that minotaurs have massive horse cocks as well, depending on whatever lore you're reading. What's your drawing configuration? I have the same drawing configuration. I'm sitting on the bed and I bought a monitor with my head on the wall. I thought of changing it up a little bit, but I figured there was no need to. Bed instead of a mattress on the floor. My guy is getting ahead in life. I mean, I'm just using the shit that was available for me in my aunt's apartment. I actually did try the mattress on floor configuration, but I didn't really like her mattress, so I found a foldable bed that had an okay frame, and I'm using that. I'm not going to stay here that long, probably, though, because I'm planning to move to a location that's not as hot in the summer. But Texas is hot too? Where did you get the idea that I was living in Texas? What the fuck are you talking about? Nagano is an idea. Nagano should be chill all year round thanks to the altitude. Um, there's also locations in Chiba that seem to be nice because of the ocean currents. Is what I've been told. I've never really lived at altitude, so I'm not sure if it will have like any negative effects on me, but I'm sure it'll be okay. I don't think I'm that sensitive. My mother has said that when she went to high altitude locations like Colorado or Wyoming, she got headaches and stuff, so I don't know if I should be maybe I should just take a trip out there beforehand to decide where I want to live instead of looking up locations before I go. Would centaur girls be satisfied with human men anyway? I hate that I want to know. Let's see if I can find the copy pasta. Copy pasta mares human men. No, I'm only seeing one Reddit coffee pasta. My biggest fantasy is getting fucked by a horse despite me being a human male. The thought of being a mare excites me and makes me so hard. I want to take that monster horse cock in my ass and be bred. No, this isn't the one I was looking for. There was a 4chan copy pasta that existed around, I don't know, maybe 2020 or so, I think. And every day the guy would just post this pasta about how mares are meant for human men and how they female horses find it much more pleasurable to have sex with a human man because all of the horses' sexual sensors are located near the entrance of their vagina, and in fact male horses' penises are too large for them to be comfortable or something like that. You mentioned this factoid on the regular. That's because people have been talking about horses on the regular because of the year of the horse. You're making it sound as if the people of this stream don't ask this question of whether female horses would enjoy human male penis. Like, this is a topic that comes up once per stream. It's not my fault if I reply to it. If you guys want high quality intellectual discussion with me, you have to start it yourselves. We can all talk about Finnegan's Wake instead of horse pussy. Nagano is only 371 meters above sea level. That's barely anything. Will it be actually cooler then? I think I'll... See, I need to find a location where I don't need to have a car. I want to live in a place where I don't need a car. I'm not even using bikes right now. I'm just tired of having to worry about hardware besides my own legs. The thing about bikes in Japan is because everybody uses so much bikes, you can't just like park your bike wherever, like in America, because then there would just be too much bikes there. So you have to get like proper like bike tickets and stuff like that at the bike parking space. And I'm just done with that lifestyle, man. I don't want to have to worry about, like, oh, did I park my thing in the right location anymore? I'd rather just walk there. Good news is that people don't jack your bike as much. You can also just get a cheaper bike. Just remove the saddle, Gachi Hyper. I had a Frankenstein bike I built that looked atrocious and it still got stolen in the US. Well, that's the US. Where people just steal whatever they can find. Even if they don't even want it. I just think that it's stupid that I'm like, oh, I need to get so many steps on a daily basis for my health, and then I'd be like, also, I will also use a bike to get to this location when I could just walk. It's like, if I'm gonna take time out of my day to make sure I'm staying healthy by getting a specific number of steps in, Then what the fuck am I doing using a bike? I should take that opportunity and get the steps in. Also, I lost I think like 10 pounds since I got here in like a week. It might just be that the scale in my aunt's apartment is incorrect, but I don't think it is. I was 75 kilos the other day, and I was like, how many kilos is pounds? And it's like 165 pounds. I'm like, what the fuck? I haven't been in the 160 pound range since like high school. How is that possible? But like the combination of me living alone, so whenever I want to eat something, I have to cook it, combined with just like the magical properties of being Japan, has caused my weight to drop like absolutely immediately. Your abs are chiseled again? Kind of. It's maybe not 10 pounds, it's more like 7 pounds or so. I think I was like 100. I was between 170 and like 175 pounds when I was in America, and now I'm like down to like somewhere between 165 and 100 and, I don't know, 170 pounds. So I've basically lost like somewhere between 5 and 10 pounds, I guess. I don't know. Will you go to bathhouse gachi? I went to a bathhouse the other day. It wasn't very nice. There's a local onsen within like 5 minutes walking distance, but it's absolutely packed full of old people. So I was just like, yeah, nah, we ain't doing that shit. You are close to being shredded, only by American standards. If you're not morbidly obese in America, they're like, holy shit, he's shredded. Were you expecting busty gatos in the mixed bath or what? There is no mixed bath, dumbass. I was in the male section and it was full of old ass people. I expected it to be somewhat empty because I went at like 3 p.m. on a weekday. But I forgot that everybody is retired in Japan. So it was full of old ass people and it was not fun. I don't want to be crowded in during my relaxed time with a million other old people. That's not my idea of fun. I don't know what kind of hand gesture I want to give her. Public baths are deeply unsexy. They're all full of old people, guys. Young people don't go to public baths. It's an old person thing. Old people are like, ah, my back hurts. I will go to the hot springs to ease the aches of being 10 million years old. And because Japan is a country of old people, it's crowded as fuck. Not my idea of a fun time. That's basically social gathering in East Asia, yes. Just lots of old people being like, ah, we're gonna do this old person thing. We're gonna go to the park and do Tai Chi in massive groups. We're gonna do Mahjong, etc., etc. Onsen Sento is awesome. Young people don't know what they're missing. They're missing the opportunity to be in bed, or not in bed, but in the same bath as a shit ton of old people. Look, there are certain amounts of onsen crowdedness that I can tolerate, but once it gets over a certain amount, it's no longer relaxing and it's now stressful, so... I don't like being around other people. Hell, I'm not sure I really enjoy being around my own body in the bath. It's like you're letting the soup of your ass and sweat and stuff fill up in the tub with you. The best baths are the Eastern European ones where you drink vodka and get hit with the leaves. That's not a bath, that's a sauna. Hold on, I have to take a piss. Be right back. Uh, do centaur girls wear panties? I've seen hentai in which, in order to deal with the fact that if you do standard centaur, their pussy is exposed, they have like these large, I don't know, strap-on panties or whatever. Hold on. Gotta piss. Uh, uh, I went to a lot of onsens, public baths, and hotels. So the thing is, this local public bath is like run by the city, so it's like cheap on purpose. And there's like steep discounts for people who live in the city and are also old as well. So it's basically just asking for it to have so that we can have a shit ton of old people there. It's just supposed to be that way. They're also using it as a place to socialize, so there's literally zero chance that wouldn't be full of old ass motherfuckers. They probably go there every day so they can chat with their buddies and shit. There is that one Monster Girl manga with Centaur as one of the main characters. She does wear skirts. If you do not wear the skirt, you are no pan and exposing the horse pussy. You can do shit like add the thigh highs. I've seen this where they put the fucking garter belt stockings right here like that. Like this. Sexo. That's crazy. Yes. It's in very poor taste because we all know horsewomen should be exposing their bare ass. A horse girl should be wearing spats because of their athletic nature. It's an idea. I could do this. Is this supposed to be Tomboy Centaur? Yes. I like drawing girls wearing starter jackets. To indicate how sporty and tomboyish they are. I don't know. But I can't figure out how thick the sleeves should be in this case. Ugh. You like girls, what are you gay? I fear that this chat will never change. And we'll just be going in circles like this for the next 30 years. This might be too much fabric. Can't really decide how much fabric it needs. You're planning on streaming until you're 17? Nice. I'll probably be streaming for quite a while. Unless Shonen Jump suddenly asks me to begin my incredibly popular $1 million manga series or something. I have to keep up my English, you know. I have to speak in English or else it's going to start to decline. Though I do miss Monkey Freed and Hystrixia. Both gone for different reasons. The IRL monster is what got Hystrixia. Rest in peace. Are you still working on Dark Elf Stepsister manga? I am beginning doing the storyboards for something I'm going to send to Japanese publishers now that I'm in Japan. There's all these monthly contests and stuff that you have to go through. So that means it has to be like a one-shot, somewhere between 30 and 50 pages or so. So I can't just be like, this is my English elf manga or whatever. The wrinkles just feel wrong. God damn. Whatever, I think this is good enough for now. That's why the Dwarfs manga is the one you're going to submit to a publisher. I'm doing something else right now. I felt that there was too much fantasy in the marketplace right now because everybody is doing the manga version of the 10 million different isekai fantasy bullshit. So I didn't want to participate in that. I'll go back to fantasy when that trend dies down a little bit, I guess. Do you have a Panda Man-esque character that you put in various panels as an Easter egg for your dedicated readers? No, that's stupid and Oda is a hack. Unlike me. Do a one-shot that best imitates 80s, 90s cyberpunk. That would require me to have to draw difficult backgrounds, but yes, I am drawing something cyberpunk-ish right now. Do you think Don Krieg will return? Oda is busy with Flashback 10 million right now, so... who the fuck knows? How my interpretation of near future will be. It's not that kind of cyberpunk. It's more like, remember the 90s? The 90s were awesome kind of cyberpunk. So all the monitors are still like CRTs. There's people with cyborg modifications. But the internet is not very developed, for example. It's basically like, what if we didn't have all the shitty technology of the last 10 years that sucks, and we got cool technology instead? I wanted cool gun arms and heat vision eyes, not ChatGPT and Amazon drones. Yeah. It's pretty bleak in a very uninteresting way, the current future technology scenario. If you told someone in 1980 that, like, the technology was going to create an extremely bleak future, they'd be like, oh, so everybody is like a cyborg now, and there's like mass crime and shit, and Judge Dredd needs to murder people. And you're like, well, not really like that. It's more like we created technology that can create fake video and fake images of anything, and the companies are using it as an excuse to fire everybody. And the only thing it's being used for is to make extremely shitty meme videos, and also to scam people. And the guy from 1980 would be like, oh, but surely someone will use this technology to create the holotech headset, and everybody will just be plugged into the interweb all day long, losing their self in a fictional world, right? That's dystopian, right? And you're like, well, somebody tried to make that as well. It was called the metaverse, and we don't talk about that anymore because there's 5 people in it, and it was supposed to be used to have corporate meetings, I guess. And if you told the person from 1980, also there's all this digital money, they're like, oh, holy shit. what's happening with the dollar? What are we using the digital money for? And you're like, well, we're not actually using it for anything. The dollar is still really important, and actually, the more popular forms of this digital money are basically saying that they're tied to the dollar so they won't lose value. And the only thing people use this digital money for is to speculate on which other forms of digital money will be better. It's basically gambling. Also, you can use it to buy drugs, I guess. But there's also a high chance that you're going to get scammed, because everybody knows that this digital money is only good for buying drugs, so yeah. Everything is kind of boring and underwhelming, even though it's also worse. It's not worse in like in a dramatic way, like you were envisioning. And the person from 1980 would be just like, huh. I never thought about that. VR is a genuinely cool technological innovation from the last 10 years, but it didn't really take off as much as you would think. Here's the secret. Nobody wants to wear a big-ass, heavy-ass headset. Nobody. People don't even want to wear their fucking Google glasses and shit like that. Nobody wants to stick shit on their face. There's a few people who want to stick shit on their face, but there's such a small part of the population. You're basically selling to like, at maximum, like 5% of the population at best. So, yeah. The market is already extremely limited to begin with. I feel like there has to be one tech bro who isn't an absolute loser. I'm thinking hard. I mean, anybody that you know about who's a tech bro is probably going to be a loser, because if the person wasn't an absolute loser, they wouldn't be spending so much time on social media announcing their presence, so you wouldn't know about them. So can we admit that Tron suits look retarded? Has any of the Tron movies made any money? The first Tron movie, people were like, oh, this is the idea of the future if you were living in 1980, but it's kind of stupid movie. The second movie was like, wait, they're making another Tron movie? Okay, I guess. And then the third movie, people were really like, seriously? Disney thinks that Tron is a valuable property? What the fuck is wrong? Excuse me? Second had a banger soundtrack. I like how literally no one's actually talking about the movie. I think I just listed off all of the so-called technological innovations in the last 15 years right there, right? It was VR, AR, crypto, AI, metaverse, oh, NFTs. Yeah, we also tried to tie the concept of crypto money, the fake digital money, to extremely poorly produced art images, and tried to convince people that these art images were going to be extremely valuable in the future, and see if anybody was stupid enough to buy them. And if quite a few people were stupid enough to buy them, was the conclusion, I guess. You forgot humanoid robots are really good now, but still no real use. Define really good, because I saw that some company was trying to sell people humanoid robots that could like wash dishes in your house, and it turned out that for all these like videos in which they were supposedly doing stuff, there was a person in the other room who was like controlling the humanoid robot with like a fucking Xbox controller or something. It's like, oh, so awesome. We now have robots that cost 5 times more than hiring your local Mexican person to do the simple manual labor that you want to do, but are also like way less capable of doing that manual labor. That's so cool, bros. The future is truly here. Japan and China are making rail guns, which will be never used, because conventional warfare is also equally kind of irrelevant, because, you know, nuclear weapons exist. The gambling on real life any events is newish. Yeah, it's not really technology news though. It's just regulations not being able to catch up with the industry just being allowed to make it so that you can gamble on everything. China has facial recognition everywhere. Okay, I guess that's new if you're looking for... If you want the truly dystopian hellholes, you can go to China and Korea and kind of get them, and they're sort of like 1980s dystopian hellhole. Like we were envisioning that. It's like 1984 style shit, I guess. So I guess that is living up to its potential, maybe. Russia is turning into that too. You know that Russia will just be like, they'll just be announcing that they have facial recognition everywhere, but they won't actually have the budget to do it. They'll probably just like prosecute a very small percentage of people or murder them pretty publicly, so that the rest of the Russian populace thinks that the dystopian hellhole technology is properly functioning, but in reality, instead of like facial recognition, they'll just be doing it the old-fashioned way, as Russia always does, by like having your local neighbors get a reward when they report you to the political authorities. Russia is always just like, we have technology, but in fact they're just using the same method they used in like 1901. 20% of Russian houses still don't have indoor plumbing. Russia was always a third world country. America just convinced themselves that they were like doing space age shit because the American industrial complex is just in a constant struggle trying to convince the American populace that if we don't spend more money on the military industrial complex, we're going to lose the next war. I.e., give us more budget. Which is why you get these constant New York Times editorials about how deeply unprepared America is to have a war with China and stuff like that. Guys, if we don't waste another $700 billion on our next various air fighter, we're gonna lose to China. Trust us, for sure. China is light years ahead of us, guys. They're definitely not just like copying pre-existing appearances of American technology with like that was already developed in like 1960. Admiral Kurtzenov or whatever their aircraft carrier is called. When I heard that like the flagship of the Russian fleet had got sunk in the Black Sea by Ukrainian drone boats in like week 2 of the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, I was like, oh shit. I guess my War Thunder battleship fantasies aren't going to be coming true. Like, how do you even deal with the shit ton of drones that can just be, like, floating around nowadays? I guess you need to have, like, electronic warfare capabilities. And if you don't have it, you're just gonna get sunk. It takes so much money to make a boat. And then, like, someone just makes a cheap-ass radio-controlled missile and it just crushes it. EMPs 24/7. I guess that's what you have to do, right? These military contractors never had to be accountable and be responsible with their spending. It's such a counterproductive field because if you're too good at your job, you just kill everyone on Earth. I mean, you can have expensive munitions that, instead of killing everyone, only kill specific people. I think that was a big, advertisement of, like, smart bombs and stuff. If you just want to kill everyone, we've already figured that out. That's what we have nukes for. Or on a smaller scale, we have, like, cluster bombs or landmines and stuff like that. The trend nowadays is only killing a certain number of people so that you can be like, no, we're not bad people, we're only killing enemy combatants. Surely the Trump-class USS Defiant will restore the US to naval supremacy copium. I mean, US has naval supremacy, if you haven't noticed. Why do you think we can buy all this stuff from different countries? It's because the US Navy is constantly patrolling basically every major seaway on the fucking planet so that Somalian pirates can't, board these various cargo vessels, and thus we can get our, $5 Chinese smartphone that was built with slave labor being transported to the US. Anybody who's like, oh man, Chinese military supremacy is so real, it's gonna happen any day now. I felt that way 5 years ago, and now I'm like, oh, that's definitely not happening. It's a fucking pipe dream. It can't do shit around Red Sea, can't beat the Houthis. The Houthis are being bombed into submission using US munitions that were bought by Saudi Arabia right now. Anything that happens is just because the ocean is super big, so it can get through at some point. It'd be too ham-fisted to give the horse girl a ponytail. I guess I could give her a ponytail, but I haven't drawn Ponytail Girl in a while now that I think about it. Did we win the war on drugs yet? America will never win the war on drugs because Americans really, really, really like drugs. And they like using drugs a ton. Americans are constantly on drugs in one form or the other. If we're not on illegal drugs, we're on legal drugs. We can basically get the same illegal drugs in legal form just by going to our local doctor and being like, I don't know, sir. I'm feeling a little bit of back pain. And they're like, here's some heroin. This will make you feel better. Oh, thank God, doctor. I had a little bit of back tightness. Thank you for this huge pack of black tar heroin. I will get high now. I feel like I have PTSD. I also need hallucinogens. Also, I don't even have to go to the doctor to get my medical grade marijuana that has been bred to give me the highest, most intense high of all time and is also laced with like meth or something. It is crazy that we have ketamine clinics. Wasn't one of the reasons why people were just like saying one of the reasons why Elon Musk was acting so weird was because he probably has a ketamine addiction or something, right? Just based on his actions. I forgot why they were saying that. It was because he was like constipated or something? I can't remember. Elon has a notorious ketamine problem. It explains a lot. Here in Japan, we do things the old-fashioned way. Alcoholism. Like our forefathers intended. Japan just relies on shame. You feel the shame when you don't drink enough, when your superior is like, you must come and drink with me, and you're like, I can't drink because I'm dying from liver cirrhosis. Then you feel extreme shame that you weren't able to drink 5 beers and then you have to commit harakiri. Any New Year resolutions, chat? Come. Do you really need a New Year resolution for that? I haven't done much coming last year, but this year I'm gonna try my hardest to ejaculate. I believe in you, chat. You can do it. You think my Japanese boss would donate a kidney to me if I told him I don't drink too much because I am missing one? No, he'd be like, you need to concentrate your willpower to overcome your weakness. You don't have the mental toughness. You have to build up more mental toughness by drinking more. Don't worry, it only applies if you're actual Japanese. If you're gaijin and you're like, back in New York, we don't drink as much, then average Japanese boss will be like, oh, that's so international. I should imitate New York because Japan loves like being like, oh, Japan is always behind. We have to do this international standard thing, so then they won't ask you to drink. He'll then go and abuse your Japanese co-workers instead. Problem solved. Not offing myself in February. I'm doing great in the winter in Japan because it's like highs of 55, low of 35 or so. It's super comfortable. But I shudder to think how bad it will be in the summer, so... I don't really want to give her a ponytail. There's not enough short-haired girls to begin with. It's 2nd of January. I fucked up. Well, next year it is. Rinse and repeat. If you start drinking young and do so for relatively small daily doses, your liver compensates and over the years you can drink and not get overly sick. It's better to just not drink at all, is the recent conclusion, instead of drinking in moderation. There was all these studies that were funded by like the wine industry that were like, look at all the benefits red wine has on you. And then eventually they were like, no, actually, you just shouldn't drink at all. You're gonna get cancer. It turns out that you were ingesting poison. They told me living like the French is healthy. There was all this stuff where they were trying to gaslight us into being like, look, this specific region of France has low heart disease because they drink red wine. It's actually good that you're drinking wine every night. Now, it might have been better for heart disease or something. I don't know if they've disproved that portion as well, but basically all these new studies show that you're just giving yourself like much higher cancer risk by just drinking alcohol. Everything gives you cancer. No, there's other stuff that do the opposite. That's why they're always like, you should drink green tea. People who are like, everything gives you cancer are just coping because some things give you way more cancer than others. And the things that give you cancer are probably the things that you enjoy, like tobacco and alcohol. And, you know, pesticides. I don't know if you enjoy that, but anybody who's spraying their lawn with 10 million gallons of Roundup is asking to get cancer. That's one of the big problems in being in Japan, is that in general their society is healthier than America, but they allow for way more different kinds of pesticides and shit. So you have to go out and like find the organic section of whatever local grocer you have, and it's going to be fucking tiny. And if you're really going to be worried about pesticides, you can't eat all that delicious bread and stuff, because they're using a shit ton of pesticides on that wheat and stuff as well, so I don't think I can go full non-pesticide in Japan. I just have to hope that I don't get cancer. But I am trying to buy shit from the organic section at least. Living kills you, you would have known. Part of the reason why Japanese cancer rates are high is because they don't have anything else to die from. Unlike America, they're not grossly overweight, so they don't die from their heart giving out at 50 because they weigh 700 pounds. Japan's life expectancy is high enough. There's too many Japanese old people already. How many deaths are old people driving? Not as much as you would think. Japan just has very few high-profile bad situations in general, so like, Japanese will never understand that if you turn on local news in America, you get to see like 5 or 6 different murder cases that aren't like national news, they're just local news. If you're living in Milwaukee, you get the Milwaukee murders. If you're living in, you know, New York, you get the New York local murders on like a nightly basis. Whereas in Japan, if a murder happens in Japan, it's national news. And it's also in the news for like the next 6 months. The murder industry just isn't doing very well in Japan. It turns out that if you don't allow everybody to own their personal guns, they don't have as many opportunities to shoot each other. Shocking. Due to my chronic anxiety, I wouldn't be surprised if I pull a Napoleon and die of stomach cancer. Was Napoleon, like, too anxious or something? Did Napoleon live too much of a high-stress lifestyle, constantly invading other countries? Napoleon was hyper anxious and nervous, always ate within minutes, and was super picky eater. Manlets, when will they learn? Couldn't be me, a 6'8" Giga Chad. Invading Russia is such typical manlet behavior. Tiny chihuahua trying to bark at the massive continental superpower. Try and invade this, you know, gigantic country. Actually, if we're being realistic, Moscow is pretty close to France. It's not like you're trying to invade, like, fucking Siberia from Western Europe. The whole, like, you can't possibly invade Russia is sort of overrated, I think. It's just difficult to invade countries in general. Most of the major Russian cities are located very close to Western Europe because, you know, Russia deep down wishes that they were a Western European country instead of a barbaric Eastern European one, so... Napoleon was in reality average size for his time. Him being short was part of British propaganda trying to diminish his influence by tarnishing his image to the public. It succeeded. But you can blame that not on Napoleon, but the fact that every time you try and walk around and encounter a tiny ass dog, they're like, yep, 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 yep. Why are small dogs such stupid little pussy bitches? It's honestly embarrassing what a bunch of pussy bitches, pathetic losers those things are. Actually, I was jogging the other day, and I saw, like, people walking their dogs, and there was, like, a group of people with their dog owners, and there was, like, a tiny-ass lap dog, because, like, this is Japan, so most of the dogs have to be, like, small enough to fit into these small apartments, right? So this small-ass dog was yapping at the fucking local Shiba, which is also not a particularly large dog, but Shibas are small enough to have, like, mean personalities of small dogs, but also be large enough to, like, damage you if they want to. So the small-ass dog was, like, yapping at the Shiba. And if you know the relationships with like smaller dogs and larger dogs usually are pretty laid back because they know if they actually attack like a smaller dog, they're gonna murder it. But this Shiba would like ignore the small dog yapping at it, and once the small dog stopped yapping at it, the Shiba would immediately turn on it and like lightly bite the small dog, and then the small dog would freak the fuck out and start yapping at the Shiba again. And I was like, holy shit, that Shiba is so fucking based. It's just absolutely abusing this like tiny ass lap dog. And the owner was like, Kinako-chan, stop doing that. Stop being mean to the little dog. And the Shiba wasn't having it. It was just like, nah, don't care. Still gonna beat the shit out of this kid. Just enough to troll the little dog. Shibas are like that, apparently. They have weird-ass personalities. There was a Shiba I knew that was getting walked around back in America, but it absolutely refused to walk. Like, the owner would be dragging it by the leash, and at some point the Shiba would just like sit down and just be like, nah, I ain't moving anymore. And the owner couldn't do anything about it. And then eventually, after tugging on its leash for like 5 minutes, it would stand up and walk another like 5 more steps. I was just like, holy shit, it's gonna take them like an hour and a half just to finish a walk. Shibas are just cats in a dog's body. That's probably why they're so popular in Japan. Japan is like a cat country. There's cat countries and dog countries, and Japan is definitely a cat country in terms of like general personality and stuff. So if you want a dog that's also like a cat, I guess that's why people like the Shibas so much. Shivas also need proper exercise and they're kinda assholes. Yep, that's what I've been told. I have to get them outside and get them to run around, and they're also an asshole. Ah! Momo-chan, the doctor said you're a fat. Ah. Isn't there a full-on cat island in Japan? I think there's more than one. There's like famous ones, but I think there's just like cats in general in Japan. Shibas are known to take one sock out of each pair and hide them. Well, I've Shiba-proofed my cabinet because I only have like one type of socks. So even if they hide one of the pairs, that's fine. I can just like, they're all interchangeable. They'll have to find a different way to abuse me. I don't know. I just don't want to be subservient to an animal in my daily life. I want the animal to be subservient to me. Among the people who are walking dogs around this area, there's one guy who has a golden retriever, and I'm just like, golden retrievers in Japan are basically cost as much as a fucking car, I'm pretty sure. All the dogs in Japan, there isn't really a pound. I think there's some pounds, but they're almost overwhelmingly bought from like pet stores, and they're properly bred. Let me look at the price. Golden Retriever. Look at these highly affordable Japanese golden retriever prices. A very affordable to only like $2,000 basically. This is only $3,000 or so. Only $4,000, $5,000. Not as bad as I expected. Yeah, me too. Honestly, I thought it would be worse. They're very hard to get in America as well. Even when I was jogging around, I was always like worried that a dog was gonna like bite me, because you can never trust the owners to have control of their pets in America, unlike in Japan. But I was never worried about the dog if it was a golden retriever. Those things are like basically bred to be docile pets, so honestly, living in a country without pit bulls is also nice as a general concept. I will say the toy dogs in Japan are remarkably cute. I don't like toy dogs. Any pets that are like below a certain size, in which I'm worried that if I'm not careful, I'm gonna step on them and like immediately kill them, I don't want them. Maybe if it's a rat that I know is going to be smart and fast enough that I don't have to worry about like stepping on it or anything, then that might be okay, but like whenever I touch a chihuahua or something, I'm worried that the force of my hand is going to crush its skull and its eyes are going to just pop out. I think the anti-pit bull sentiment is a completely American concept that then infested the rest of the world. Well, Americans had a great idea where they're like, what about this specific breed of dog that is bred to be violent? and you have to give it a shit ton of training so it's not violent. That would be so cool. And everyone was like, oh, that's awesome. I also want to own a dog that is like violent. And of course, none of them ever give them training to not be violent. So then, like, every week you have like some sort of situation in which a pit bull attacks someone or like bites off a kid's head or something. Any animal rights activists who are like, any pit bulls being violent stuff is fiction, you just need to give them training, is like, okay, that's such a stupid concept, because the problem is that people don't properly train their dogs in America. I've had a dog owner's dog just like straight up bite me, and the dog owner was like, he's just playing, ha ha ha, he's just playing. I always see tiny chicks with massive bruiser dogs they can't handle. Once the dog gets above a certain size, I feel like they actually mellow out a bit. Like there's some white woman in my American area that had two Saint Bernards, and those things were like extremely mellow. Saint Bernards are just like, they're just like pack horses. They just walk around. It must have cost her so much money just in food alone. Hashtag you just know. I've only seen a Saint Bernard IRL once, a little kid, and thought it was a bear. They're just like fucking massive. They are basically the same size as a bear. Very expensive to both obtain and to feed and stuff like that. Also, I hear cats going at it every night. It's horrific. Cats be like, no, please don't stick your painful barbed penis inside me. And then when it goes inside the female cat, they're like, yes, this is actually what I want. I love painful barbed penis. Biology is a nightmare. That's why instead of sticking my painful barbed penis inside women, I just ejaculate on all the eggs they've left in the riverbed and let the water carry my sperm into the general area and hope it fertilizes stuff. After I've ejaculated, I die. You know, God was drinking at the wheel when he decided to make cat, duck, and pig dicks. I am personally a Darwin believer, so I like to believe that duck penises are shaped that way because they spend so much time raping each other. So duck vaginas had to evolve into increasingly complicated shapes to prevent them from getting raped. But then the penis is also evolved into weird shapes to further accommodate for rape. I like the section of avian biology where we just talk about duck rape going on forever and being like, yes, I was observing the ducks and I saw a male duck raping the corpse of another male duck. This is the first time we've documented this. It's just like, haha, ducks, lol, am I right? There is a water runoff containment pond near my local YMCA. So when I was lifeguarding there, I got to observe the ducks coming down into the pond. And one day there was one female duck and two male ducks. And the male ducks were trying to rape her, of course. And they were cock blocking each other. So when one male duck tried to mount her or whatever the fuck, the other male duck would attack him. And of course she was trying to get away the entire time. It was pretty entertaining. It went on for like 30 minutes. Dolphins involved hand dicks. I mean, that's nothing that special. Humans evolved hand dicks too. Personally, I use my hand dick for everything. Wait, are you saying you don't have a hand dick? You should get that shit treated in your checked out at a doctor because that might just be your hand dick isn't properly working. I use my prehensile penis for a lot of different things, like holding a pen. Tapirs also have prehensile penises. I think it's more common than we think. There's probably a lot of evolutionary benefits to have your penis bend and move in various ways. You switch to Japanese medical insurance. More like you just get it when you get to Japan. It's part of being Japanese citizen living in Japan. And then of course I had to cancel my American medical insurance or else I'd be paying like $500 a month in premiums. Elephants also have prehensile penises. I wish I had prehensile trunk, prehensile cock. These things would be very helpful. You're going to get the hemorrhoids removed finally, hopefully. I haven't made my doctor's reservation yet because it's like the New Year's. I assume the office isn't open right now, but I'll do that once Oshogatsu New Year's period is over. I'm gonna hope that they don't have insane amounts of reservations. I wonder what they're gonna do. There's a bunch of hemorrhoid removal methods. They can snap a rubber band onto it. Apparently there's like some sort of like blast it with like icy air, like you're removing a wart or something. I don't know. The ab angle seemed a little incorrect. It's like this. Speaking of which, do any of you guys use PC controllers with your PC gaming? Because I was told that I should be able to use my PS5 controller with my PC, and I kept on plugging it in, and I installed a bunch of the what do you call it, the firmware or whatever, and I still wasn't able to use it most of the time. So I was thinking, I didn't bring my PS5 controller, so I have to buy a new controller. Because I was all like, I'm not going to play video games in Japan. And as soon as I get to Japan, I'm like, there's a Steam sale. I'll be playing video games on my laptop. So then I was like, now I need to buy a controller. So I was thinking of buying one of the Xbox controllers. Because it seems to be the default option. Because PS5 controllers are hunks of shit. I can't remember if I was able to use my PS4 controller. Maybe I was. I was figuring that because theoretically Microsoft is the company that owns Windows, the Xbox controller would be probably the easiest in terms of plug and play. What do you guys think about the symmetrical joystick alignment versus the asymmetrical joystick alignment? Because I watch V complain about that shit all day long. And honestly, it doesn't really bother me one way or the other. I'm fine with either. I don't think it makes a huge difference. The only thing that was annoying was the PS3 controller because the joystick placement right here was too close. So then when you'd have both of your thumbs going inward, you would actually like bump your fucking thumbs against each other depending on where the grips were. Like this, there would be bonking. But they fixed that in the PS4. The PS3 as a whole was a pretty underwhelming console. But at least it got a bunch of games. But even that, it didn't get much games. The only reason why Microsoft had a brief period in which the Xbox 360 was successful was because PlayStation was shitting the bed. That's what became obvious thanks to the PS3. If Sony hadn't shit the bed with the PS3, they wouldn't even have had that brief period of relevancy. Halo carried the Xbox. It really did. I heard that 343, now rebranded as Halo Studios, was they had plans to remake the remake of the Master Chief Collection. So instead of making more Halo games, they're just being like, we're incapable of making Halo games that people like. We're just gonna remake the same fucking game that was already remade once. When I heard that, I was like, God damn, modern gaming is truly dead. Even the concept of just remakes as a whole seems like just an obvious example of how modern gaming is dead. But when you're remaking the remake, it's just like, holy fuck. Half-Life 3 before a good Halo from 343. That's like a mathematical problem that asks you about like the nature of infinity or something. It's like both are impossibilities. If Half-Life 3 is never going to appear and Halo, a 343 Halo is never going to be good, which will occur first? It's just like, that's a trick question, Mr. Sphinx. Neither is ever going to happen. I thought it was a centaur. The Sphinx is the one that asks questions. I saw a Japanese Twitter comic poster who had a comic in which a Mesugaki Sphinx was asking a person who is a Zako in the morning, a Zako during the day, and Zako at night. And he was like, it's me. And she's like, that's correct, teehee. I was like, damn, that's fucking brilliant. What a work of art. Brief period of time I had friends and we played 2 and 3 and 4 couch co-op. It's a foundational memory. Video games that were fun because you had friends to play them with. I don't think we should give as much credit to the developers. because it's most of the fun is being produced with your relationship with the people there. It increases the fun of the video game by like 300%. Especially if 343 Studios can't fucking implement split screen in their latest Halo. That's some of the most pathetic shit of all time. They're like, we don't know how to do split screen, a technology that has existed for the last 20 years. And then like the community found split screen just by like activating a bug or something, and I was just like, holy shit. It's truly becoming like those JRPGs where there's a long lost ancient civilization and we can no longer replicate the technology. You know, split screen, a function that we had on basically literally every PlayStation 4 game in the 90s. That technology. That's the point. You explained the joke. I don't know what the joke was because I wasn't reading all of your messages. Stuff like Sea of Thieves, one of the very few modern Microsoft published games that is considered to be even somewhat successful, I think is a really good example of like, we shouldn't give them credit because it's just you having fun with your friends. Like, I've seen streamers play Sea of Thieves, and there's very little in Sea of Thieves that would consider it to be a good game if you weren't just hanging out with your friends. You're basically creating the fun for yourself. "23 years ago, all night after work playing Halo PvP on 4 TVs in the same apartment, eating 6 large pizzas from work, those were the days. And that's why I've died of heart failure, because I ate too many fucking pizzas." If you told a Japanese person like how you ate a large pizza by yourself or 1.5 large pizzas by yourself, they'd be like, haha, he is joking. But you'd have to be like, no, that's just the American lifestyle right there, my friend. We're not joking at all. To the average Japanese person, the standard American portion must seem like a joke. If you want to eat an American portion in Japan, you have to order the omori, which is like the large size. And even that is probably smaller than what you would get as a normal American portion. I ordered omori kare at Sukiya a few days ago, and I was like, it seems like an average American food portion right here. If game is good, game is good. You have a smile on your face, not because the game is good, but because You are remembering the memories that you cherish deeply and which you spend with other people. It's like your mother's cooking or something. You can't grate it in a vacuum. My opinion is video games, while they can also be fun with friends, they have the important role of providing us with comfort and distraction from the horrors of real life when we don't have time to be with our buddies and have fun. So, if it's relying on just that it's fun with friends, I feel like it's not serving its role as a method from distracting us from the horrors of existence. Because if we're with our buddies, we're already having fun. We don't necessarily need that video game to be having fun. My mother is generally a great cook. I'm not saying that bad games or good games that you can have friends with don't exist. I'm saying that there's a lot of situations in both your mother's cooking or a video game would be considered bad without the context of maternal love or the fun times you're having with your friend. Have you noticed that I've actually gotten better at drawing while I'm talking to you guys? I feel like this is actually coming along. I've been working on it for 2.5 hours, which is like about half the speed as at what I'd be drawing at if I wasn't streaming. But in the past, I would have to like redraw shit. But I feel like this is I won't have to redraw most of this. Changing my pencil grip has really changed a lot, both in terms of my... This is probably the biggest single change I've made in terms of, like, how it's changed my drawing. It literally feels, just because I changed my pencil grip, it's changed my mentality on how I draw lines, how I construct the drawing as a whole, my ability to draw while I'm talking to people. Like, I feel like it's changed everything. Has had a super dramatic effect. I'm just thinking in terms of like, I'm gonna draw, it's the speed at which I draw lines. In the past I was like I have to get the perfect like sharp line by doing this stuff. And now that I changed my pencil grip, I'm more like this. I'm just gonna drag the pencil slowly across the paper, and I'm not gonna worry too much about the line smoothness or the shape or stuff like that. I'm just sort of gonna place the line. And that the change in the line movement and stuff changes how I think, which also allows me to spend time talking to you guys while I draw. Because I'm drawing the lines slower, it allows me to make changes in my brain as I draw them and stuff. Baal is in the motherland. He is channeling energy from the thousands of mangaka. Let's give her thicker eyebrows. There's not enough girls with thick eyebrows or short hair. So it's up to me to solve that problem. I don't necessarily want them to be like too hairy though. I just want them to be thick. Living alone. I was basically living alone in the past as well. I could rely on my mommy to cook food and stuff for me, but she wasn't barging into my room to distract me or anything. There's not enough girls with thick No, I'm better than this. You're not better than this. Nobody here is better than that. They all can't help themselves. You are like the gay mascot of this stream. Be true to yourself. There's too many people that do female cock posting that it's kind of difficult to say, like, this is the guy who does the most futa cock posting. Satsuki Kiryuin after she cuts her hair. This is not Satsuki Kiryuin's eyebrows. I forgot what they're shaped like, but let me actually check. Satsuki Kiryuin's eyebrows are very thick. Different shape. They're like this. they're actually almost triangular. Whereas this girl's eyebrows are like this. It's a long triangle like that. See the difference? When you're drawing cute girls, trying the eyebrow shape is one of the few things that you can mess with. To make them look different. So you should mess around. You can also mess with the teeth. Not really. There's very, very few anime styles that have individual teeth and stuff. There are some tooth gap characters, but they're exceedingly rare. I'm talking about what you can mess with while still having them appear as Bishoujo. I don't know if you can do it with tooth gap. You'd have to be like... because the mouth is usually just like extremely simplified. Same with the nose. As soon as you give them a tooth gap, you're kind of dooming them to like farmer, onigiri girl. Flesh Fang or Tooth Fang? I fucking hate Flesh Fangs. It's a new trend and I absolutely despise it. Fuck Flesh Fangs. No Flesh Fangs. We don't do that shit around here, okay? Shark teeth? You can do shark teeth. That's about the only variation that I see. Shark teeth and fangs. Alright guys, I'm going to end the stream here. See you around, boys. Have a nice New Year's.